Good morning, virtual villagers. How are you this morning? I'm Kate from What Kate Made, and on this session, we're going to be doing some crafts for kids, some simple things using paper and card and paint, a bit of pre-summer holiday preparation, because there's bound to be wet days in the summer holidays when you think, what can I do with the kids? You can pop this video on because it's always kept on like the feed and then onto YouTube. So if you think this is something your kids will like, save it for them. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to make today. I've got two things to show you, time permitting. The first one is this really cute fish. It bends and it's quite good. It's very simple to make. It's got as you can see, it's got different coloured fins. It's got a little mouth. It's got these googly eyes, and it bends. Now this is the first one I made. I have made a few different versions of it, so let me show you the others. I decided how to make it move better, so I've put it on a couple of bits of bamboo skewer, and you can do that, and you can make it, if you roll it in your fingers, you can make it bend and chase you. It's a bit like Jaws. And the final one, now they were made with ordinary craft paper. The final one I used a little bit because I thought they're quite fragile. I made this one with slightly thicker, more like a thin card, and it doesn't quite bend as well, but it is a bit more robust, so you might want to think about that. I don't think a really stiff card would do it, but this is sort of like a very thick paper, if you like. So that's the first thing we're going to make. And the second thing we're going to make are these little birds made out of a cardboard tube. Now I've put mine on elastic. You don't have to. They'll sit just as easily on a surface. So they are painted cardboard. They've got wings that I've used that again, that slightly thicker paper to give it a bit of stiffness. We've decorated it with various little marks to represent feathers, but I'll show you how to make that as well. But we're going to start with the fish. So if you just bear with me and give me a minute to get my feed up, I will be able to take all your comments. So give me a wave, say hello. Let me know you're there. Okay, let's see. Okay, right. So what you're going to need today is I've got a ruler. Where's my pencil gone? Lost my pencil. That could be a disaster. Just bear with me a second. I can always use a felt tip pen. You need a pencil. You need scissors. I've got two lots here. You need glue. Now, I'm going to... Oh, there's my pencil. I'm going to use my glue gun simply because it's the easiest, quickest, best way to do it for me. It dries quickly, and I'm not waiting for it to dry. You can use, best thing to use on the fish particularly would be a glue stick, because it's dead easy to use, and you're only sticking paper, so it's not anything that needs any kind of heavy duty sticking. For the bird, you really do need a heavier duty glue, so I will use the glue gun for that. You also need some marker pens and some acrylic paint. Now this is just a craft acrylic. I have lots of these little tubes because I don't use a lot of paint, so they're useful. Googly eyes, I've got a few in a little jar here ready, so I'm not scrabbling about in the big thing. A couple of templates. You need something to draw a 3.5 centimetre circle, inch diameter, and you need a couple of heart shapes. Now mine are, I've got a smaller one and a medium-sized one. They're just helpful, say, for cutting round. And I think that's everything. Obviously, if you're going to paint something, you need a paintbrush. So just bear with me 1 second, and I'm going to see if I can see you live. There we go. So I can see comments, so just let me know you're there. I've had a few thumbs up already. Just say hello. Anyway, so let me see if I can turn the camera down properly. I've been having a bit of trouble with my camera lately. I will turn you down so you can see my work surface, and there's my very scruffy now work surface. Okay, so we're going to start with fish. So I must stop saying so. We start with an A4 sheet of coloured paper, and it needs to be a square. So the way I always get a square is I just fold it over. So you make sure that that corner comes to a point and crease it that way. And make a nice crease because it's going to help you later. And then we just cut off this end here. Keep that as well because that comes in handy later. So that's our square. Put that there for later. And we unfold it and we make it into a kite shape. So we're cutting. Oh, just let me remember. Put my glue gun on. Or when it comes to gluing, I won't be able to do it. I'm going to fold that in there at one point. Give that a crease as well. Then you're going to fold in the other side to meet it in the middle. So we've got like a kite shape. And then crease it again. And we're going to unfold it. Now, the fish, to make the fish shape, you will stick it like that. So that those two of the ends that you folded to the middle all go over each other. But first, you want to cut in the strips that make it bend. And so this is the line that you made when you folded your kite sides in, and you're going to cut from this central fold down to that fold to about there, and you're just going to cut at regular intervals about ½ centimetre, and this will let your little fishy bend. It's quite simple, especially if you don't use hot glue. This is ideal for children. It's simple cutting. You can have a lot of the shapes ready cut out for them, the heart shapes, and I should explain the heart shapes make the fins and the tail. So if you have your circles and your heart shapes cut out already, then it's a doddle for children, is this. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to cut a curve for the face. You want to leave a bit of a gap because remember you've got to put eyes on it. So we're going to start our curve about there, and we're basically just cutting off that point. So we're going to just curve it round as we cut it. There we go. Let me get rid of that. Now, one thing I found out when I was practicing, putting the eyes on, you want the eyes at the same place because they're going to look forward at you and they look weird if they're not at the same place. So what I did was, before I unfolded this, I just decided where my eye is going to go, about there, and I just made a little hole with this pointy thing, this piercer, and that means that it's at the same height on both sides, and it just helps you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stick it together. So as I said before, those two pieces are going to fold over each other like that. So we're going to glue down this edge, or rather this edge will make it easier, and then we're going to fasten it together like that. So hopefully my glue is ready now. If not, I will improvise with double-sided tape. I'm only going to put minimum amount of glue on. It's not hot enough yet. I've been investigating glue guns because when I was reading up on this on a website about children's crafts, it mentioned a cool melt glue gun. Now, if you watch me regularly, you know I'm always burning myself on the glue gun. So I was quite intrigued by these cool melt glue guns. So next time you come, I may have one. Now you're just going to fold that so that those edges meet. It is a little bit difficult to press it because you don't want to squish your fish shape, but you can do it. So that's our basic fish shape. You can see it already that it'll bend and splay out. So next thing is the mouth. So the mouth is made with a circle in the same colour as the as the body, I started with a 4.5 circle, and I found it was slightly big, and so I switched to a 3-inch circle. 3.5, sorry. This is diameter. So I'm going to cut one out. Where's my pencil? I'm just going to draw around I always have different sizes of circle template cut out a card, so that I can always cut a circle. I'm not very good at cutting. Certainly not good at drawing. So I'm going to cut out a 3.5-inch diameter circle of the same colour paper that the body of the fish is made of. And that's going to be his mouth. Then on top of that, we're going to stick a circle to make a tongue. Whichever colour you think you might want your tongue to be. Red. Now that's the same size circle, but we do need it slightly smaller. So what I'm going to do is just trim off a very little tiny bit all the way around to make this circle slightly smaller, so we can see a little bit of the mouth. Don't worry about it being perfect, because it's what you could do is make another template, maybe 3 inches. I don't know whether that's a 3-inch diameter. It is, more or less. So, and then you stick one on top of the other, so they've got a rim all the way around. Now the glue is definitely melting now, because it's melting all over the table. I'm going to just spread some, not a lot, because I don't want to buckle the paper, just enough to make the tongue stick down. There we go. So that's stuck. And then we're going to put that inside the bottom of the mouth like that. And we're going to push it in so that it looks like it's part of the fish. I think that's about right. So I'm going to put the glue on the body of the fish, and then place so I'm just spreading it, then place the tongue inside. I have to work quite quickly because it's setting quite quick today, the glue. It's not as hot as it was previously, it's much cooler, and it's nice. So there we go, that's the mouth. So you can see you've got your bendy body and your mouth. So the next thing is the fins and the tail. Now, if I show you on this one, upside down, this is where our heart shapes come in. So the tail is one heart shape, and the fins are a heart shape then cut in half. So this is my heart shape template. I want to choose a contrasting colour. So let's go with green. Now I want 2 hearts the same size. So what I normally do is fold over the paper. So then I get 2 the same. So I'm going to put that on there and draw around it. You don't have to use the template if you're good at freehand drawing, but I'm not. And I'm going to cut out the 2 matching hearts. Oh, not very well as it happens. So as I said, we're going to cut one of these in half to make the fins, and one of them is going to stay whole to make the tail. So I'm going to cut that one. You cut it right to the point. Okay, so there's my fins. There's my tail. Now, the tail wants to go from the point up as far as the heart shape goes, and it goes that way. So your fish sits on it like that, and just press that down without squishing it too much. It might help if you turned it over and just pressed it, but it sticks quite quickly. So there you can see his tail. That's what it looks like from the other side. Okay, now the fins. Now I am going to turn him over. I keep saying him, it might be him. So the fins go on with the point towards the head, and they just go on the edge like that. So I'll put a little bit of glue on. As I say, as you can see, probably this is why glue stick is slightly better for this particular job, and it's going to go about in the middle of the body like that, and then I'm going to do the other one to match. Just make sure I glue it on the right side. Point to the top and that way out. So there, glue it. And then stick that on so it matches. When it's at this end, you can get your hand inside the fish and stick it down a little bit better. That one needs a bit more glue. Okay, so our fish is looking very fish-like. Last thing to go on are the eyes. And these ones, I've got a various size of eyes in here, but the ones that are biggest ones I've got are the ones I'm using for this, because fish have quite large eyes. So that's the biggest one I've got. So these are googly eyes. The black bits move inside them. So I'm just going to glue the back of the eye tiny bit and then pop it on where those little, whoops, where those little holes were. So let me know who's out there. I can see that I've got Madge and I've got Wendy. I know Wendy, she lives near me. So they, you know, children or even grandchildren. I don't have any grandchildren yet, but these are good to do with your grandchildren. So there you go. That's your bendy fish. Now, as I say, with the one I did last night, I put the sticks on it so you can maneuver it better. It's probably for little fingers. That's probably a better idea. I quite like these. I'm quite fascinated by them. I've seen all sorts of things done with caterpillars and lots of things with the same sort of shape and idea. So that's our fishes. Right. So we like them. We'll move on to the birds, because these are what I put these in my porch. So these are a little adult, little children, adult, anybody's kind of thing. I'm just looking because I seem to have lost my cardboard tube. Now the best size for these birds is a toilet roll size. This one was made with a toilet roll. However, I don't have a lot of toilet rolls because my husband always throws them out. So, but I have a load of these, which are slightly bigger tubes. Now these come out of the big paper rolls that you see in the beauty salons and things that they cover beds with. So these are quite handy. Now, what I'm going to do is cut this. I'm trying to find the one I made earlier. Why am I not organised today? Right, found it now. So depending on how big you want your bird, really, I can't think there was a correlation between the size and diameter of the tube, but I'm going to say about there. Now with this, I have to cut it. If you're doing a toilet roll, you won't have to cut it. It'll just be the right size. I'll try and cut it as straight as I can. And this is a bit stiffer card as well than a toilet roll tube, so it requires just a little bit more force. Okay, so that's my tube. So what we do to get the shape of the bird, where's it gone? So you can see it's kind of flatter at one end and then flattened the other way at the other end. So to do that, you squeeze this shut. Now this is going to be the tail end. So what I want to do is glue it so that I've got quite a rim, and I'm going to just bend it a little bit so I know where I want it to be. Now this is where hot glue is better than any other glue, because it will hold it very securely. I'm going to glue it on the inside of there, but quite far in. And now it doesn't want to work now. And then again round the very edge. So lots of glue. Be careful when you squeeze it shut that you don't burn your fingers, because I do that all the time. I'm going to hold it till it really sets, because this is quite strong card and it will pop open if it's not already started to set. So there we go. And as I said, this is going to be the tail of the bird. So I'm going to make sure I have a good fold so it does look. It might even be nice to have it slightly tilted upwards. So you can see that that's the first gluing bit. Now I've got glue everywhere, just bear with me a second. I always end up covered in it. This end we squish the other way, so we flatten it that way. So you can see that one's flattened that way, this one's going to be flattened that way. And again, we want to just squish quite a bit of it. What we're going to do now is shape this to get the bird's head shape. And basically, we're just going to cut a curve round like that. So I'm going to use my scissors. I'm going to cut the curve like that. And then I'm going to do the same at the other side. I always find it easier to just turn it over and do it. There we go. Now, these bits we've cut off, we're not going to waste them because we're going to use it to make the beak. And I'm going to just, how am I going to do it? Cut it that way. So what I've got is like a double thickness of card. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in between to just hold it steady. I'm going to use the pencil because I will end up burning myself. I'm going to pop that down with a pencil and I hold it. Okay, so the beak slips in about there, like that. Can you see that? So now I'm going to glue around the edge of here. Hot glue does get very stringy. I'm running out of glue now. Put the beak in again and then squeeze that shut. If it doesn't quite meet, because sometimes it slips with the glue, we can trim it after, it doesn't matter. It's just started to rain here. Just getting another glue stick out. And I will re-glue that top because it's not quite meeting. And I say any bits of glue that are left over, don't worry about them because you can trim them off afterwards. Again at the bottom. The curve is slightly more difficult to, because you're not flattening it out as much. You want to keep a bit of a curve on it. And there we go. That side's come apart now. It's not going to work very well, this. But you can see how PVA glue or glue stick wouldn't quite cut it either. I don't know why it's not sticking as well. Feeding a second glue stick in is always a little bit tricky. Try that again. So once that is stuck sufficiently, the next step is to colour it in. So you can either use acrylic paint, as I did, or you can even just use marker pens. If the children are doing it themselves, they might just want to colour it in with a marker pen. I do use the yellow marker pen, these are Sharpies, to do the beak with. But I prefer the paint just because it gives a nicer coat. Now, paint's not going to dry in time to show you the second part of how to make the bird. So, in true Blue Peter fashion, here's one I made earlier. So, I painted this last night. It's a nice sort of lilac colour. And I decided this one was blue with lilac. So I quite like the blue. However, I think I might do pink wings for this one. As well as my big sheets of ordinary craft paper, I have a pack of this is origami paper, and it comes in squares of different colours. So I can find a suitable. Ooh, purple. That's nice, but the dark colour, you won't be able to draw the. I think green might be nice, but I have some green already cut, so we'll use that. The green I used earlier. So I'm going to cut another heart shape out, but this one is slightly smaller. When I did this one, I found the wings were too big for the bird, so I'm using this one. So what we're doing with the heart shape is we're going to cut it in half and make 2 wings out of it. So that's our next cutting out bit. It's coming on to rain now here. What's the weather like where you are? I know what the weather's like where Wendy is because she's near me. It's so blessedly cool now as well. I don't do heat. I've been miserable all weekend. With that big bit. So I've cut 2 out here because the paper was already folded, but it doesn't really matter. I might make more birds. Okay, get rid of that bit. So there's my bird, and there's my heart shape. Now, what I'm going to do is cut it that way. Again, same as I did for the fins, but this time these are wing shapes. Now, you want the point at the back. So they're going to be glued onto your bird like that. Maybe a little bit further back. You can bend them round if you want, like that, so that they meet at the back. I'll show you the other one. So they meet like that at the back, but I'm leaving mine out. Okay. Now, the other thing you can do if you want is if you want a bird like a robin, you can draw a breast on it, but you would do that when you're painting it, I think. I'm not sure whether paper would stick on it or whether that would look good. Anyway, so that is your bird. Before we start sticking things on, again with the eyes, we want them to be in the same place. So I'm going to pierce right through so that they are in the same place. Yes, so that's come out the other side. The other hole I'm going to put in mine is because I've put a little bit of elastic on mine. So I'm going to put a hole there at the top as well. Squish it together a bit more. If you haven't got one of these piercing tools, just use the needle. I'm going to use the needle anyway to thread the elastic into it. Right, so those are the holes we need. We're going to decorate it now before we stick anything on, just because it's easier. So with the wing shapes, I'm going to I'll use that blue because I don't have a purple handy. You mark sort of feather marks on, and what I did was just slightly curved lines like that, curving one way and then curving the other. And just all the way down the wing. Just randomly. Well, I can't do random, so the semi-random. But you can do any pattern you like. This is just because this was easiest for me. You can do anything. You can draw feathers on if you want. I'm not very good at drawing feathers, so I didn't do that. And then I just did like a little V at the bottom. That's one wing, and I'll do the other. You have to make sure they're the right way. You don't want to draw on the wrong side. So we'll just quickly do the other one. I should have done this before we started, and then you wouldn't be watching me just draw little lines. In the summer, holidays, I am on my own Facebook page going to be doing a series of little what I call 5-minute makes for kids. There'll be pre-recorded videos, but there'll be activities that you can, rainy day activities that you can do with the children. So there's the wings. So that's a good tip as well. Heart shapes make great wings. Now the other thing we're going to draw on while we're here is the tail. Now with the tail feathers, what I did was I drew a line down like that, and then just did 2 little and then another line, and then like a V shape. So it made like a little, can you see the shape? I don't think you can see it very well. Can you see what shape it is? And I did that all the way along. It's very stylized, the decoration. Obviously, you don't get many purple birds in Britain either. Not purple birds with green wings, anyway. Maybe an exotic parrot or a lovebird, I don't know, but they're not purple, are they? Now I'm whispering. Right, so that's my tail feathers drawn on. Probably should have used a slightly darker pen than that, I think, just to make it stand out. But anyway, now we're going to stick the wings on. So my wings are going to go, actually I might stick the eyes on first, just so I've got a better proportion of where the wings are. I'm using the same kind of eyes, but these are smaller, obviously because my bird's a bit smaller. And I'm going to put the glue where the mark is, and then stick the eye on. Oops, that probably was a bit too much there. So one eye goes there, and one eye goes there. So that gives you a little bit more idea of where your wings are going to go. So your wings are going to go about there. Maybe a little bit further down, about there. So again, I'm going to glue the card just because the paper is quite fragile when it's glue, when it gets wet. So put some glue like that, and then a little bit like that. So like a cross shape. I can't remember which one it was I was using now. That one, I think. Nope, that way. So your flat bit is going towards the top of your bird. And you just stick them on like that. And then do the other side. My glue stick's not feeding in properly. Too much glue there, but never mind. They're not very even. I'm just going to slide that one while I can still slide it. There we go. So that's the wings on our birdie. And we're almost done. And the final bit is the elastic. Well, we haven't coloured the beak. So the beak, you can either use acrylic paint, but I've just been using a Sharpie. The problem is that the brown card with the Sharpies, the colour does bleed through a little bit, so that they don't look entirely yellow. But that's that. Now I have, where's it gone? Somewhere. Some thin elastic on a roll. So it's like a thread, elastic thread. But I needed a big needle to get it in. So I had a darning needle. Like that. With a big eye. So I'll just cut off however much you think you're going to need. And then thread it. Now, as I said before, I'm going to put these little birds in my porch. I've got a tree in my porch, a twig tree, that I redecorate for every season. So I'm going to make, I've already got crocheted birds on it. I'm going to add these birds as well. So just basically just thread your needle through your hole, pull your elastic through, and then we're just going to knot it. A knot I learned when I was making pom-poms, if you tie it once and then when you wrap it through like that, you wrap, So you would, that was how you would normally knot it. Then you just wrap it through that circle again and double it, and it makes a tighter knot. Plastic doesn't knot very well, but so that's knotted, and I'm just going to cut this end off. Now, there we go. There's our little cardboard bird. It bounces on the elastic. I love these. I'm going to make some more. That's my afternoon sorted. So that was our bird. So we've got our two birdies, and this is our fish that we made earlier. There's the one we made today. The green one, there it is. It's hiding. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I have so many of them. So that's our fishes. Let me turn the camera up. We'll finish quickly today, and I haven't broken anything, and I haven't switched the camera off, which is what I did last time. So I call that a good day. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy making your little birds, or if you keep this activity in the bag ready for when the kids are off school. I'm sure after it's been blazing hot these last few weeks, it'll be raining all through some holidays. I've probably just jinxed it all. So these are going in my porch. I think these will go to my neighbour's little girl, little granddaughter, because she likes the things I make. Thank you for joining me. I will be back in 2 weeks' time with another activity for children. So it will be school holidays by then. Also, if you pop over onto my page, What Kate Made, on Facebook, you will, through the summer holidays, there'll be various little activities up and, running on there, videos for you to find. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your day. I shall go off now and have my lunch, and I'll see you in a fortnight.